This is a demonstration about throttling in SharePoint version 2013. What is throttling? The exact meaning is to literally kill. Or why throttle in SharePoint? When there is a huge load on a server, that can kill the server. So what is the cool mechanism from SharePoint 2010 was to do a HTTP throttling. If there is an overload on a server, the number of requests are reduced, and this is done by the HTTP throttling feature. This is also done at the list level. If there are too much items on a list, there are certain configurations you can do in SharePoint to increase the performance. We shall now go ahead for the demo. Go to the central administration website in your SharePoint server. Click a web application. Let's click IT here. Select General Web Applications and select Resource Throttling. So if you see, it has a number of configurations for better performance. List view threshold is set to 5000. That is the maximum number of items that a database operation can involve at one time. The next is allow object model override. You can either allow it or say no if you do not want developers to change the values for this list. The next option is the list view threshold for administrators. That is the maximum number of items that a database query can handle for this list. And the next number is list view lookup threshold. Sometimes you would want to have a lookup in from a database query, and that is set to 8. So this option, enable a daily time window for large query, helps users to do certain queries for large lists at certain time, at a scheduled time, which is not coinciding with the maintenance time, as well as not the working hours. The next setting is the list unique permissions threshold, which is set to a default of 50,000. And the next option is backward compatible event handler. By default, this is off. If you have any custom event handlers from the previous version, you can turn this on. The next option is the HTTP request throttling. Currently, SharePoint supports only enabling or disabling this feature. And you can have an option to delete the entries from the log after a certain number of days to reduce the overload on the database. Now the same can be done in PowerShell also. We shall go ahead and look at the PowerShell commands. So if you observe, these are the commands which are listing the properties from the web application it.contoso.com. So the maximum items for the list throttle operation is set to 5000 here. There is an additional property for warning level which you could not see in the central admin, that is set to 3000, and the number which you saw for 20,000 maximum throttled operation for administrators is 20,000, and the maximum query lookup fields from any database is set to here, which is same here. And the number of maximum unique permissions, the unique permissions assigned to a list, that is set to 50,000. All the properties you could view from the central administration can be viewed in PowerShell also by getting the object of the web application. Now, if you want to enable or disable HTTP throttling, there is a command called disable. We are not actually doing it now. It's because it is recommended not to do the disabling. But in case you have any custom requirement to disable, you can use this feature to disable the web application HTTP throttle. To view the web application HTTP throttling monitor from PowerShell, you use the command get-sp web application HTTP throttling monitor and pass the web application parameter. This lists the available memory and the request details. So as a summary, what we have seen today is the HTTP throttling. If the health score goes beyond 10 and there is an overloaded request on a server, the HTTP throttling takes care of reducing the number of requests. And we also saw the list throttling settings, that is the maximum number of limit for a list view and the list lookup. The important thing you need to just remember is that maximum items a list view can hold is 5000 and the lookup value is 8. Thank you.